So, as promised, in this video, I will be talking about self love and manifesting. I will be covering a few myths and a few misconceptions and a few commonly asked questions that people have in regards to self love. So, let's get into it. This will be a step by step video. So, keep sticking to the end. I will be covering a lot of things. Understand that self love is a very important thing. And this is a topic that shouldn't even be a question. Like, it shouldn't be a question why I need to work on myself, because why wouldn't I work on myself? So let's get into it. First, the first point I want to talk about is what is self love. Because when we talk about self love, it is very, very talked about, and in different communities, a different meaning is provided to the name self love. So, what is self love? In the easiest way possible, if I have to explain the concept of self love to you, I would say self love means my ability to put myself first, my ability to validate myself, and my ability to put myself in a position to win. And when I say myself, I mean my current self and my future self, by doing things that I have to do even if I don't want to do them. And it's a topic that is not a very black and white topic, it's a very gray topic, which means that there is no black and white answer of self love. For someone, self love can mean not doing something. For someone, self love can mean doing something. So let's understand the different ways how self love works. Self love means I have to do something in my own self that either surpasses some fear in me, or puts me in a position to win, or does something in me that liberates me or puts me in a better spot, things like that. For example, for someone who is a very extensive diet person, that they are so restrictive with their diet because maybe they have gotten this into their mind that if they gain even 1 kg of weight, that they will not be worthy, or maybe if they gain 1 pound of weight or fat, that means that they're not good enough, and they have been on a diet forever. They don't even lead a life which they like. They have been very restrictive and they don't like it. For them, self love would mean eating a slice of pizza, because that would mean that they face a fear that is eventually going to put them first, and they are going to face something which limits them from reaching their full potential. That they deal with a limiting belief and they face it head on. This does not mean that they will keep eating pizzas forever on a daily basis. This just means that they face the fear. But let's say I'm someone who does not have any control over my diet. My health is not doing good. Like, doctors have told me multiple times that, hey, you need to control your weight, because if not, then you will get sick. And it's actually something that has put my health down a lot. For me, self love would mean stopping eating the pizza. For me, self love would mean dropping the alcohol. For me, self love would mean eating homemade food or eating in my caloric restrictions and things like that. Because for me, it is surpassing my fear, doing things that I know I should be doing, regardless of how much I want to not do it. Another example of this would be, let's say I'm someone who has a fear of that if I don't text my SPE, he will forget about me. And we are in a no contact situation, and that is the reason that I keep chasing. For me, self love would mean that I don't text the SP. It's as simple as that. For me, self love would mean that I make sure that I face my fear, and I make sure that I understand that one text message is not going to either make me or break me, and I make sure that I face that fear. But let's say someone is so afraid to reach out to their crush because they're so afraid of getting rejected that they don't even go out, they don't meet people. For a guy, let's say he's very afraid to go and talk to women because he's afraid that he will get rejected. For him, self love would mean he does face that fear, which means he goes and he talks to women. If he gets rejected, he does, but it at least allows him to face the fear. It allows him to put himself in a position to win. Now, another misconception, the second point, is people talk about self love and feeling good. But this is a very big misconception, because self love will not always make you feel good. In fact, self love in most of the situations is actually very scary. It does not feel good because it is making you and forcing you into doing things that are usually outside of your comfort zone. So, for me, if I am going and talking to the girl that I am because I'm afraid, or because I'm afraid of being rejected, I am not instantly going to feel good when I do it. For me, if I'm someone who has never put boundaries in my life, me putting the boundary up might not mean that people appreciate it instantly. That does not mean that I have to feel good instantly. Self love does not mean that I have to feel good instantly. It means I have to do what needs to be done to make sure that my new self prevails. It means that I have to do whatever I need to do in order to make sure that the old version of me is not going to survive anymore. It means that I face the fears and surpass them rather than allowing them to live and guide my life. So, of course, it does not make you feel good all the time, but eventually it is important for your overall growth as a person and a manifester. The third point is, how does self love help in manifestation? So let's talk a little bit about the difference between self love and self concept. So, what self concept means is how I view myself in relation to things. What that essentially means is how I view myself in relation to particular topics in my life or my life in general. So, how I view myself in relationships. Do I feel that I am worthy of relationships? Do I feel relationships are easy for me? Do I feel relationships are accessible to me? And self love is totally different, as I explained before. In understanding self love, what is also important to understand is that self love can help with self concept, but self concept is a way wider term than self love. So, if I work on myself and if I face my fears, it will be easier for me to believe that things are accessible to me. For example, we will take the topic that we were discussing before. Let's say I'm someone who has a very difficult time actually standing up for myself, and let's say I'm someone who has a very difficult time putting myself first and maybe asking out girls or maybe speaking up or putting up boundaries because I have always been a people pleaser. But then let's say I go and I actually do that. Me doing that act of self love is also going to make me feel more confident. Because I'm going to feel more confident, it is going to be easier for me to believe that I can do things. It is going to be easier for me to believe that things can work out for me because I just faced my fears. That is the power of small wins, because it is going to make me understand that facing a fear is accessible, powerful, possible, and totally in my control. And that in itself is going to help me manifest what I want. But just because self love helps you manifest what you want isn't and shouldn't be the only reason that you should be doing it. Because the next point is that people talk about this a lot. Can I manifest without having self love? The answer is a twofold answer. The first short and then the basic answer is yes, you can still manifest things in your life even if you don't have a good quality of what you call self love. But let's understand this deeply. Anyone who says, like, maybe I can manifest without having self love is ruining and actually missing the point of what the whole manifestation journey is all about. The manifestation journey is not about escapism and getting things in your life as a like, oh, I need to get these things, receive these things as a matter of let me just receive these. Manifestation is actually a transformation journey. It means you transform yourself into a person who has what they want. But what they want is not just a person or money. What they want is the whole life that they want. What they want is the whole dynamic that they want. What they want is everything that they want to experience, how they want to feel, the power that they want to feel, the love that they want to feel, the bravery, the courage, and the freedom from their own insecurities that they want to feel. But when we say, can I manifest without self love? Okay, let's say you do. What's the point of it? Let's say you receive it. Then what? Because you're missing the point of what life is supposed to be about. Yes, that thing will make you feel good for a few days, but it's just going to be one checkpoint in the next thing that you will chase now. Because if your sense of happiness and your sense of validation is dependent on that one thing, then in itself, once it comes, you're going to chase it in the next thing, because that can only come internally. Another thing is that that thing in itself is not going to make you happy and is going to ruin your manifestations anyway, because once you receive it, you will get insecure because of it, because you did not validate yourself. And because you didn't, it's only going to end up in the same position as before again. You are again going to be chasing something else, and it's going to stop the whole concept of what self love means. This exact reason is how people escape a lot of work on themselves, because they say, oh no, self help and self love, I don't need to love myself in order to get what I want. Okay, and I won't. Is that what you're saying? Is what you're saying is I need to get something in return of loving myself, and only then will I love myself? Is that the statement that you want to stick to? Is that okay? If you can tell me, Karan, that I can get what I want only if I love myself, is the only reason I love myself. Doesn't fix and doesn't set right, right? I really hope that you understand more about this topic. from this video, and I would love to make more videos on this if you would like. And if you have more video suggestions, please leave them down in the comment below. I also would like to know, what does self-love mean to you, and I would love to see your comments on it. So I will see you guys in the next video. Love yourself because you deserve it. I hope you have a great day.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe and share if you liked the video. The link for my one-on-one coaching, my self-help courses, and my free newsletter are in the description box below.